you asked a driver in the ARCA RE series where they'd like to win more than anywhere else, chances are they would give you one simple answer: Daytona. A track where achieving timeless fame can be daunting.
Number 5 for Bobby Gerhart. Gerhart winning at Daytona again.
But in doing so can ignite a career of success, where one adheres with the likes of Katona, Parsons, Petty, and Richmond. And tonight, 43 drivers will pursue that dream of winning the year's biggest event. There's only one place to race. There's only one place to win. There's only one Daytona.
In 1964, the Automobile Racing Club of America came to Daytona Beach, Florida for the first time. And for the past 45 years, they have been coming back year after year. This is the 46th running of the Lucas Oil Slick Mist 200 from Daytona Beach, Florida. Just afternoon, 65 degrees, sunny skies, and just a slight breeze.
It has really been cold here this weekend, and finally the weather broke, and we're getting some warmer temperatures.
Now, yesterday in practice, when the race cars were out on the track, coming off of turn number 2, take a look at Ryan Fisher. He's in the back of this pack here in the number 15.
Yeah, Ryan was essentially all by himself there coming off turn number 2 and got a little bit loose, and that's not that difficult to do here, is it?
That's very easy to do, and I talked to a couple of the guys, and they said their cars were moving around quite a bit yesterday. So I think from past races, everybody knows to tighten them up a little bit more.
Our Lucas Oil race analysis. The length of this race, 200 miles. That equates to 80 laps. The pit window, somewhere between 50 and 60 laps. Depends on which team you talk to. And then the pit road speed, 55 miles per hour.
Yeah, you see that pit window. That's very critical. Obviously, with an 80-lap race, they can go 50 to 60 laps. They can do this race on one lap. I was talking to one stop. I was talking to Bill Gerhart right before we came up here to the booth, and he said that if the caution came out on lap number 10, he was going to come in then, that early.
Well, you could make it with the yellows. You know, that could you could run the 70 laps then probably.
A lot of cautions. We take a look at now at our Toyota track map of this behemoth, Daytona International Speedway.
You see that 3,000-foot backstretch. You come off turn 2, Kenny, that turn 3 looks like it's 8 miles away.
It does, and when you get down there, it looks like it's flat, and it looks like you're growing into a driveway at 200 miles an hour. It's amazing how narrow this whole track is. I mean, when you're 3 wide here, which we'll see a lot of tonight, you got to be paying attention.
And that triangle, you see that little bend at the front start-finish line. That's not a straightaway. That is a turn.
Yeah, I was going to tell you about that. When I came here the first time, 1900-something, it scared the heck out of me. Was that little tri-oval? That was a turn. I don't care what they call it. It's a turn.
Don't let them fool you, folks. The 50s is when this racetrack was built. Take a look at our Menards Pole Award winner, presented by Ansel. Justin Lofton will bring the field to the green flag. What an honor for that young man.
And how exciting is that, knowing that he's got the car that actually won here last year?
Exactly. We take a look at our ARCA RE starting grid. And again, talking a little bit more about this front row. We've got Justin Lofton that will start on the inside. Allie Owens is going to start on the outside. And we talked about what an honor I think that is for a Daytona Beach native. This would be the dream growing up, to be able to race here at Daytona. And how about starting in front of the field?
Exactly. It's really the dream for every stock car racer all over the country to come here at Daytona. And for Allie, at 20 years old, as you can see her car there on the outside, the 19th, to be on the front row here. What a thrill.
And how about row number 2? And a pretty impressive lineup there for those 2 drivers. We got Michael Annett, who has won 2 out of the last 3 super speedway restricted racetracks. And then on the inside of him, Joey Logano, who everybody's talking about right now, the big name.
You know, Joey's obviously running this race to get some more laps. I had the opportunity to talk with Joey and his daddy out at Fontana or Irwindale a couple weeks ago. They're so excited about the full Nextel Cup deal, or Sprint Cup, but they know that he needs more laps. You know, they were counting on a Busch deal or a nationwide deal. I'm really messed up on my name today. They were counting on a nationwide ride for another year. So this is a very important race for him.
We're riding along with a few different cars today. One of those will be Tim George. He has the Ruby Tuesday on board with him. He'll start 34th in that number 2 car.
We're also going to ride along with our 9-time champion Frank Kimmel in the Ansel Menards Ford. Frank will start back in the 24th spot.
On that right here, we're with Patrick Sheltra. He's in the Ferguson Pipe Dodge, who'll be starting 16th. He ran his first ARCA race for us a couple years ago at Pocono.
Talked a little bit about Ryan Fisher with the number 15. You see the baby, I think that's Mum I'm going to go with. So we'll be riding along with that on board today. And
we're also going to ride along with Matt Carter, the Stein Seed Ford, Larry Clement's team. Larry won this championship so many times with Frank Kimmel. They agreed to separate. Matt jumped in this car last year, did a great job. He starts back in the 11th spot.
So we'll be riding along with a few different cars today. And before the green flag flies, let's head back down for some final thoughts with Wendy Venturini.
There's a lot of talk about the caliber of drivers in today's field, but I don't want to overshadow the talented crew chiefs on pit road today. 11 of them are from the Cup Series, one of them being Paul Andrews, Cup Series champion crew chief in years past. Take the raw talent on the racetrack teamed up with the veteran experience of these crew chiefs on pit road today. This ARCA RE/MAX Series race may just be the most exciting race here for the ARCA Series right here in Daytona. Let's go over to Jim Trado.
And Wendy, the most celebrated and most experienced crew chief in ARCA is Bill Kimmel. 9 championships with his brother Frank. However, today, Bill Kimmel's not on his brother's pit box for the first time since 1998 and their first championship. Bill's son Will makes his ARCA debut here at Daytona, and he'll be on the pit box for his son, Larry Metters. Frank Kimmel's brother-in-law will call the shots on his pit box. Good to know the Kimmel family stays together. They're pitted next to each other, so indeed there will still be a family influence, but Bill Kimmel not on Frank's box to make all the calls today. We'll see how that plays out.
Do you think that's big? I mean, Frank Kimmel not having Bill there to calm him down?
I talked to Frank. He said, hey, that's his son in that car. He said, yeah, Bill needs to be over there with Will. So Frank was certainly good with it, and obviously a family member over there. And also now he's got a little drafting help possibly later on.
That's right.